Hello. If you're able to, please close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Relax your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Take another deep breath in. And another breath out. You can open your eyes now. My name is David, and welcome to Mindful Moments. That introduction and those words will be familiar, but this setting will not. You are very used to seeing me in front of my desk at home. I have my pepper plant and my painting on my right. Today, the plant is slightly behind me on my left. I'm in Meta's studios, and we are recording today in a very different setting. I'm obviously very used to it just being me recording. Usually, my girlfriend will press the start button and exit the room, and then I'll proceed to talk for however long I talk for. Today, I've got 4 people in this room, 3 or 4 people probably in the next room, and I'm feeling a lot more reserved than I usually am. But that's okay, because we're going to do exactly the same thing that we always do. We're just going to sit and chat. All things going well, this will probably come out around the time of World Mental Health Day. Even if it doesn't come out exactly on the day, it'll come out around that time. And so today it's only right that I talk about mental health generally. My mental health, my thoughts on it, why I do the things that I do. By this point, you'll have heard me do this many times. You'll know that I care very much about the way that we all feel, the way that I feel, the way that the people who watch this feel, and what led me to that, why I find all of those things important, and why I'm never going to stop finding them important, why I'm going to continue to do all the things that I'm doing in whatever format they come. We haven't actually been talking about mental health or valuing mental health as highly as we do now for very long at all. And I realized this the other day when I was talking to one of my friends. We were talking about something slightly different. We were talking about taking a break from work. And because I'm a full-time content creator, because I work for myself, I don't give myself as many breaks as I probably should. And my friend was saying, in your job previously, you were given standard holiday days and you were making sure that you take those days. So why don't you take them now that you work for yourself and now that you can give yourself the holiday that you need? And I realized that I was working myself far too hard because I wasn't valuing things that I should be valuing. It's not even just about physical fatigue, especially doing what I do. I can sit and edit for hours a day. I'm not physically tired, but mentally to continue to create and mentally to continue to put myself in front of people and be judged and looked at. It does take a toll mentally. And I realized that one of the reasons I don't take as much time off doing what I do as I should is because I'm not valuing my mental health highly enough. Even saying that sounds so strange. I have a literal podcast called Mindful Moments. I talk about my mental health and people's mental health and our feelings all the time. But this is why I underline what I started this with. We haven't actually been thinking about mental health and valuing it as highly as we should for very long. I'd say the first thing I ever saw anything about mental health in mainstream media, and the time where I started to see representations of those kinds of things in mainstream media, was probably, I'd say maybe 3 to 5 years ago. I'm 25. So that meant by the time I was seeing mental health being talked about in a public arena in a positive way and being taken as something serious and something important, by the time that happened, I was already 20. So I was already a fully grown adult and already a fully grown man. I only specify in this case because it's important to my particular outlook on the world. It's been detailed many times that grown men, adult men, are far more likely to commit suicide and are far less likely to talk about their mental health or to seek help for their mental health. And I think even as someone who talks about these things very regularly, as someone who understands the importance of these things, I still don't behave in a way a lot of the time that shows that I understand the value of those things. If someone else comes to me and says they have a certain problem, or says that they're feeling low, or says that they really need to talk, I never ever judge anybody. I'm always willing to listen, and I am able to give the best advice as somebody who cares about those things. But there's still a gap between what I know to be true and the way that I treat myself. There's still a big gap between me knowing that I need to take a break for my mental health and me taking a break for my mental health. There's still a big gap between me feeling upset about something and vocalizing the upset or the pain that I have about something. It's something that I've talked about a lot with my girlfriend. A lot of the time, I will have an issue in our relationship and I'll be upset about something and will take a long time to go to her with it because I don't want her view of me to change. I feel like it makes me less of a man in her eyes. And those aren't things that I'm necessarily proud of feeling. Even saying this now feels way too vulnerable. It feels way too personal. I feel ashamed. I feel embarrassed of saying those things. The only way to fix that kind of problem, the only way to heal from that kind of thing is to vocalize it and is to accept there's a problem and is to acknowledge it, which is the reason I am. But it's something that I still continue to do. I think it will take a long time of us doing the things that we're doing to undo some of the damage that's been done and to change attitudes and thoughts around mental health. I think because we hear about it a lot now, because it's something that's in our vocabulary a lot now, I think it's very easy to think, okay, job done. It's always being talked about. But I think there is still a very big gap between the fact that we're talking about it and actually living that out and enacting it. Even at the beginning of this, I said, let's all take a deep breath. And I'm the kind of person, or I've realized I have the kind of behaviors that would mean I will tell everyone else to take a deep breath, but won't take that deep breath myself. I'm finding it increasingly important to make sure that I practice what I preach. I never intend to preach, and I'm not preaching. All I ever do on this is share my personal thoughts and experiences and hope that my words find the people that need to hear them. One of the things I think is becoming increasingly clear and increasingly important to me is that it's not simply enough to believe the right things and to say the right things. I really, really have to do them. Otherwise, it's not worth very much at all. Something I always think when it comes to mental health generally is that people don't necessarily see, people hear what we say for sure, but I think the stuff that actually makes a real impact is when people see what we do. I've said this before, but it's something that I really believe to be true. I think one of the big problems when it comes to male mental health, specifically when I think of my male friendship groups, is that it's not enough for us to say to our friends, I'm here for you, whatever. If you need to talk about anything, I'll be there for you. Because that's important and that's good, that's excellent. But really, we need to back that up with our behavior, otherwise it doesn't really mean anything. When someone is low and when someone isn't feeling good about what they're thinking and feels embarrassed and feels ashamed, if someone feels a way where they're more inclined to hide than to speak about what they're going through, they think more about what they've seen rather than what they've heard. If I'm the kind of person who ridicules people for having deep feelings, if I'm the kind of person who disrespects people who are brave enough to show their emotions or says that it's weak to cry, that kind of thing will stick in someone's memory far longer than me just saying, oh, I'll be here for you if you need me. I never want anyone around me, I never want any of my friends, any of my family, anybody who knows me to ever think that they would be judged in coming to me about something they were struggling with. And to do that, I need to do two things. I need to make sure that I live by the things that I say I believe. And I need to make sure that I'm doing those things for myself. I need to make sure that when I'm upset about something, I lean on the sources of support that I know I have. Me not feeling like I can talk about my feelings is based on other feelings. It's based on shame, it's based on embarrassment, but it's not actually based on the people I do have around me. It's not actually based on how I've been greeted when I talk about my pain and my suffering, the things that I'm struggling to go through. Of course, that's just my specific story. I know for a fact there are people who don't have people around them that they can go to talk, that don't have people around them that they can say how they feel and who won't greet them with ridicule or put them down or tell them they shouldn't be feeling the things that they feel. And that's why this is probably the most important conversation that we can continue to have. I think there is no such thing as talking about mental health too much because we all live inside our heads every single day. The more we have conversations like this, the more likelihood it is that someone can find a space where they can talk about the things they need to talk about, or where they can get things off their chest and talk about their emotions and go through those things without feeling judged. So in short, I think we made tremendous progress. I think it's a wonderful thing that I can sit here as a man in my mid-20s, talk about my mental health, and the vast majority of the reaction will be extremely positive and supportive. I think that is huge progress from where we've been before. I think the world is very different to how it used to be. I don't think that stretches to everybody. I think it needs to. I think the only thing any of us can do is make sure that we are enacting that change in our day-to-day life, in our circles, in the people that we talk to and greet and touch. And I think the journey has started, but we're nowhere near the destination yet. And that's okay. There's work to be done. If you are struggling with anything, going through anything you don't feel like you can talk to, please reach out to any of the sources that I'm going to put on screen here. And please remember that to be in touch with your feelings and to be able to acknowledge and talk about what you're going through and the things that you feel is the most courageous of things. The reason it's difficult is because it's something that not many people can do. So it's never something you should feel embarrassed or ashamed of. You should be proud of yourself for finding the strength to be able to do that. And you should be proud of yourself for wanting better. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening. And whatever you're doing this week, I hope you have a wonderful one.